This is Susan Wilbanks with blendedinsight.com. I am a holistic and integrative healing arts practitioner, an intuitive, and an energy healer. In this podcast, I share tips, tools, and suggestions that have helped me along my path in hopes of inspiring and helping you along yours. Let's get started with today's podcast topic. Hello, bright soul. Thank you so much for joining me again on another podcast. I wanted to start out by saying if you have sent me an email or left me a comment and I haven't responded, I apologize. For one, for some reason, my emails, a lot of them are going to junk mail. And so once a week or so, I go into my junk mail and check. I don't know why that's happening. I think it's just because of all the spam. And I know I've shared that in a previous podcast. Also, I've had to prioritize my days because I do have a lot going on and I just can't get to everything every day all the time. And so I'm doing the best I can. So please don't take it personally. I'm just one person and, times are crazy right now. My work is extremely busy and I have things going on in my personal life, people that need my attention, people that need my energy. And so, I'm coping just like everybody else. So I wanted to say that right away. Also, I want to thank and acknowledge everyone who has taken the time out to leave me a review and to share my work, subscribe to my work, join my newsletter, my mailing list, all of that. I know I'm not sending things out regularly, but I will when I am called to do so. So with that said, let me just jump into today's podcast. I want to talk about dealing with opinionated people. And the reason I wanted to talk about this is because for most of us, the world is starting to open back up and people are losing their minds with all of their opinions and their agendas and what they think is right and wrong. And it can get exhausting. And so if you choose to take a public stand in any way where you share a certain viewpoint, chances are you have naysayers or people that might try to knock you down. And so even with this work over the years, I've experienced a little bit of this to a certain degree. But what I want to share with you is there are literally no people who are public or standing for a cause or in the spotlight in any way who are universally loved and accepted. There's always going to be someone who has something against you or what you stand for or what you have to say. That's just the world. There's billions of us. We all have opinions. We all have different viewpoints. And so knowing that helps you to not take those things personally and to continue to set really good boundaries and stand up for what you personally believe in and what you feel is right. And so as people who are on the spiritual path and trying to be a beneficial presence on the planet and not create negative karma and just take the high road, and it's never crowded on the high road. I mean, just here recently, I had an exchange with someone who was very closed off emotionally and not as emotionally mature as I am. And I really had to just stand in my emotional maturity with an open heart. And this is not something I was always able to do. I used to shut down. I used to be, almost numb. I wouldn't say harmful, but just very emotionally detached, couple of decades ago. So I've learned how to be open and show up and take responsibility for how I show up and speak my truth with love, sending all of the good vibes out. And how that person receives it or doesn't receive it is on them. But I know karmically, the way that I showed up and the way that I handled it, even when people are rude or hurtful or closed off, I know that I took the high road. And we know, it's never crowded on the high road. It's tough for people. Honestly, most of the population really struggles with that, especially if your emotions are involved or you're upset. Knee-jerk reaction is to get ugly. Like that's what most people do. And so I would just say, take responsibility for how you respond. You can't do anything about the way people perceive you or what they think, but you can be authentic to yourself and be kind about it. And so what I've been doing with opinionated people, because I get them from time to time, and I have opinions too. We're all opinionated. It's part of being a human. It's the way that you express your opinions. And in my earlier days, I think I was probably very rigid and pushy with my opinions, but I've learned that there are billions of people on the planet. There's billions of opinions. And so what I have to do is I can speak my truth in love. And if someone wants to argue, I have a friend of mine that would say, she always said, thank you for the invitation to argue, but I'm going to respectfully decline. And it was just so funny. We still laugh about it because she would do that every time someone would try to provoke her in some way. So what I've been doing for people and to people who have opinions, or they're, if you get on Facebook or social media, and this is in person too, I've had it both ways. People are very opinionated about how we should be responding to current events. And so I don't engage or respond, but if someone, comments on something that I have posted or something that I say, I just tell them, I appreciate that about your opinion. I respect your opinion. And as they share their opinion, even if it's ugly or they're annoyed, I just say, I can appreciate that. I can appreciate that. I respect your opinion. Now, if someone is trying to tell me what to do and force their opinion on me, then I just tell them, I really respect and I'm happy that you found something that works for you and I can see you're passionate about it. I respect your passion and I get that is really working out well for you. It's just not true for me. It's not going to work for me, but I respect your free will choice. Go ahead and do what works for you. I'm going to do what works for me. And that's the beauty of freedom. And the other thing I do in person, I just genuinely smile at people, especially when maybe they're insulting me. Like some people, because I'm so open and I try alternative medicine, that's not mainstream. And it's weird for people because I do work in a very mainstream job, a very logical job, and I am a logical person. I function in everyday life, and a lot of people have a assumption that if you're in the alternative field like I am, doing like energy healing or alternative medicine, that you are very hippie is what they refer to it as, where I'm sitting under a tree all day in the lotus position and I'm out of touch with reality. But that's not it. I have merged these two worlds to function in everyday life. And so when people meet me on a regular level and I can relate, I have all the same experiences, I get it. But then I have this other side of me. Sometimes people get weirded out by it. And so I've had times where people tell me I'm weird or I'm naive or I'm out there. And I just smile. That's their opinion. I mean, some of those things are true. I am a little weird because I am not a cookie cutter. I am not a mainstream person to the degree that I am just sucked in by the masses. I have a level of consciousness that allows me to rise above and think bigger in terms of a spiritual reality. And so I just make eye contact, I smile genuinely, and I just say, well, thank you for sharing that. I can understand your viewpoint. But there's no arguing, and there's no need for them to continue to justify their position because I completely disarmed it with my acceptance of what it is that they feel and what it is that they think. So don't argue, just listen. I have a couple of associates who are really into guns. They love guns. That's their passion. They love to hunt, and they're really into collecting guns and being able to, shoot firearms. And they're great people. They just have a passion for guns. And I know in this community, it's like, that's a sensitive topic, and I understand. But here's the thing. They're not harmful to people. They're responsible with it. One of them was in law enforcement at one time. And that is their passion. And they're good people, and they're good to me. They're kind to me. We have great exchanges. They aren't harming. They're not criminals. And hey, I don't want to have a gun, and I'm not into guns, but I respect them. And we connect on our commonalities and the things that we agree on, and the things that we don't agree on, we just allow each other to be different. And that's something that we have to learn in society because we tend to just want to be around people that think just like us. And there's no variety and there's no growth. There's no expansion in that. So what I do with people who have just completely different opinions than mine is I really just try to understand them and their viewpoint. I want to really listen. I don't argue. I just listen. And I remember Dr. Wayne Dyer used to always say, do you want to be right or do you want to be happy? And for me, I want to be happy. It's not worth my energy to argue something that isn't going to change the outcome for either person. When you are in a combative state, you're not open to listen. Most people will cross their arms. They're irritated. And so if people are trying to push opinions on you, this is the other thing that's difficult, but it's important. Just try to let it go, because the more that you focus on it and talk about it and gossip about it, the more you energize it. And then those energetic thought forms become bigger and it becomes harder to detach and let it go. We're human, so I get it. I've been caught up before and vented and all those things, but I'm a work in progress and I'm practicing everything that I'm sharing here today. So The other thing that I do with people who really are trying to sway me with their opinions is I just tell them your opinions are valid. I respect your opinion. And when I know people are trying to like sneaky try to change my opinion about something by continuing to bring it up in what they perceive to be sneaky ways, but I'm intuitive so I can see it, is I just tell them, I respect that. I respect your opinion. I respect that. I just keep repeating it. They say this, that, and the other. I respect that. I respect that. And, I've had this conversation a lot with immunizations because I don't do immunizations any longer. My daughter got them when she was little. They made her very sick. They crashed her immune system. She has half siblings. Her father has other children, and after we divorced, he remarried and had other children. And his children from his other marriage, immunizations crashed their immune system as well. So there's something genetically within his DNA that is not open to immunizations. He himself got an immunization and it made him, was really sick when he was in the military. It crashed his immune system. I mean, it debilitated him for months. And so for my family, it doesn't work well. We can't do it. Our bodies do not respond well. And for me, the more you're on this spiritual path, the more sensitive your body gets to toxins and things like that. And your body is so clean and it can flush things so quickly that you don't need it. And so I've had people over the years, friends and family, who get really opinionated about the fact that I am consciously exempt from immunizations. And when they share, I can see that their intent is in the right place. And if you can try to detach and just look at their intent. I have an uncle who, he was just sharing his viewpoint about immunizations. He was ignorant about most of it. Most of it wasn't true. I work in the medical field, so I understand what's going on with the immunizations to a level that most people do not. And so I just listened to him and I'm like, thank you for sharing. And I think that you should get all the immunizations that come out and keep yourself really healthy. I'm doing what's right for me and my daughter, but I can hear that you love me. I respect your opinion. I respect that you want the best for me. And I would just ask that you trust that I also know what's best for me and my daughter. And we're going to make the decisions at any given time. And we have the right to change our mind. Maybe down the line, I'll decide that I want to get immunizations. As I evolve, as I change, I'm allowed to have a differing opinion and go back on it. That's called evolution. I don't have to be stuck into one rigid way my whole life. I can be flexible, I can change, and I can grow. And so I just wanted to share that today. These podcasts are pretty short due to time limitations. And also, once I share what I share, I just don't need to keep talking about it. That's all I wanted to say. I wanted to hop on here and say, just be encouraged. Know that people are afraid right now. They are trying to protect themselves and others. The way they go about it may not be in the most loving and easy to receive way. But if you just keep your boundaries, appreciate people for what they are trying to do, disengage from those who are just looking for an occasion to be offended or an occasion to argue, and just keep doing your practice, keeping yourself as zen as possible, we will all get through this together. And so let's do a healing. So if you can just uncross your arms and legs, start to focus on your breathing and just relax. I'm just going to clean you and then flood you with healing energy and do some shields. I'm also cutting some cords. Running some shields and flooding you with healing energy. Okay, and so it is. I want to thank you again for connecting with me. Thank you for leaving me reviews and supporting my work. Thank you for your compassion, your kindness, your love. Thank you for the work that you're doing on the planet. It's important. And I appreciate you. I can't say it enough. Say it every week. I'll continue to. So I just wish you a great week. Oh, we have a big full moon, May 7th. Biggest full moon of the year. So make sure you do some type of clearing and meditation practice to usher in this new energy, and all the spiritual energy flows down during the full moon. So we want to use that to bless our goals and our projects, and to also bless the planet. Take advantage of that pouring down of energy and direct it in a positive way. So that's all I got for you. Take care. Bye-bye.